What's good, everyone? Coming up and bringing out some Armor Core 6 today. I wanted to talk about just why I've been falling in love with this game. It's been a weird journey for me in a unique way. It started off with some hype and it gradually kind of went down. I wasn't necessarily getting disappointed. I was just getting maybe a little bit underwhelmed. But then now I like my experience and my reaction to Armor Core 6 has dramatically improved and I've just been falling in love with this game. Um Before I even get into the specifics of Armor Core 6, I don't know about you, but there is one factor that I love about this game that's very reminiscent of an old game I used to play back when I was a kid. Back in March 2001, Zone of the Enders was released. And Zone of the Enders was created by the legendary none other than Hideo Kojima and Konami Studios at the time when they were still a thing together. So, um, yeah, and I played the crap out of that game when I was a kid. It had a very ominous soundtrack, and not even just ominous. The soundtrack alone was just godlike, man. And the combat was great. It was the exact, not exact, obviously, but the fast-paced mech action fight just was out of this world for me at the time. And crazy enough, that was the last mech action fighting type game I ever got as a kid. After Zone of the Enders, I played the second game that was released a little bit afterwards. Um, but that was about it, And then I kind of, it kind of dropped it for me, and I didn't really hear about Armor Core, any of the Armor Core games. Surprisingly, as I was growing up and playing games, I have no idea how I missed this game. So with that being said, the Zone of the Enders had some very interesting mechanics, and not to say like just the action and the pace of it was just so fast. And Armor Core 6 kind of delivered that to me, and I kind of felt right at home. However, what Armor Core 6 brought as well was the freedom of customization and just the level of detail that you can apply in this game is just insane. It is insane. Yeah, as you guys seeing here, this is my AC. I was in the middle of customizing this AC, so the colors all look mixed and matched. However, with that being said, what you guys can see here is just the level of detail when it comes to the customization. So, like for an example, as you can see here, I was editing the color of like that comes out behind the thrusters. So you can't. I think there's ways you can actually customize the color of the thrusters themselves. But as far as the actual casing that holds the thrusters, I was able to customize that. You can also add different kinds of patterns, different kinds of shine to the metal. The weathering too, whether you can make it look really wore down or look brand new out of a factory. And you can also do all these different customizations to specific parts of the AC. So you're not just limited to just like one whole thing, or like maybe the whole arm or the whole leg. Like you can get really intricate with the customization. Not to mention too, you can also customize the guns and do the same exact thing as you can do to your AC. As well, not only talking about the cosmetic customization, the effectiveness of making a unique creation, or in this case an AC, making that work for you. Now I'm coming from a perspective where I haven't looked up any guides, I haven't looked up any tutorials or nothing. I came in here with a fresh head as possible. I really try to stay away from trailers. I try to stay away from TikToks and YouTube video, everything like that. I was like, I want to go in there like bare bones and just figure this out, considering that this was my very first Armor Core game. And over time, I've been creating ACs that have actually been really working with my playstyle, and having that sense of freedom, and really creating something that's yours. And not only is it yours, but it works across different things. Don't get me wrong, this game isn't about a one size fits all per se, because you will have enemies and tactics and other strategies really mess you up, where you're like, I don't know how to beat this boss. But I'm telling you, this is the kind of game where you got to go back to the drawing board, and you really got to figure out what your AC creation type is, and maybe you need to change up your game plan. And this is the kind of game where, like, at least if I got into a rough situation in the campaign, changing my loadout and changing my playstyle would really reward me. So just playing around with the different legs and the playstyles, I've been able to create ACs that have been really fit different situations in the campaign. So and I love that. I love that because they're all unique, and I made those from scratch as to my knowledge, and I've been kind of learning the language of the game, and it's been working, and I've been having a lot of fun. I only would struggle maybe once or twice at a boss, but other than that, if I'm running in there with the right loadout, and I just, especially if I'm listening to the briefings, I can kind of get a taste of what to expect, but that doesn't happen all the time. Um, yeah, the customization is just something else. I did want to mention too, I did want to talk about how the fact that this is a From Software game, this is a very different game. I remember when the trailer first came out, and I'm like, what is this? This looks cool. And as I was looking, that big moment where they showed From Software in the middle of the trailer, and I was kind of like surprised because I was like, again, I've never heard of an Armored Core 6 game, so I was like, what is this? And as I was watching and I was realizing where this game was going, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get kind of like my own new Zone of the Enders, but like for current gen, like for this year in its own unique way. I haven't gotten anything else like Zone of the Enders except for Armored Core 6, and I'm loving Armored Core 6 right now. But with that being said, I would not go into Armored Core 6 expecting a Souls-like gameplay. This is not a Souls-like game. I don't think it's supposed to be played like a Souls-like at all. The Souls-like games offer a very unique experience, and if you were to jump into Armored Core 6, like, this is not a game of like just timing and just waiting things out and being patient. Like, these enemies, and especially these bosses, are gonna be all in your face. And not to mention, I know there's some bosses like that in the Souls-like genre. However, the play style itself is very, very uniquely different compared to the regular Souls-like game like Bloodborne and Dark Souls per se, right? So I wouldn't come in here expecting any type of Souls-like feel to it at all. This is a unique game. This is a different game, a standalone game compared to what you would expect from Dark Souls or Bloodborne, or even Elden Ring. You know, Elden Ring was amazing, and I've heard so many people who loved Elden Ring that didn't like Armored Core 6. I found that very interesting. So for me, coming from Zone of the Enders, I felt right at home, and I could understand the players that played Elden Ring and played all Souls type games, you know, felt like they were on a different planet, let alone a whole different galaxy when they played Armored Core 6 for the first time. And especially if that was their first Armored Core, like, oh, geez, you know? And lastly, just to talk about some things that maybe that's still underwhelming about this game. Some of the things that still that are a little bit underwhelming to me is I can kind of see where they were going story wise. I haven't played the story fully yet, right? So I'm not talking about the content of the story itself. I kind of want to talk about the immersiveness of the story, the narrative, and such about Armored Core 6. And I kind of feel like it just misses the mark just a little bit. You know, nothing too crazy. Like, I still think it's great. However, what it reminds me of, actually, it reminds me of like a really good New York style pizza, but like with no garlic powder or red peppers on it. You know what I mean? Like, if they just had garlic powder and the red peppers, this game would have been perfect. That pizza would have been perfect. But you know what? I'm not complaining though, because a New York style pizza alone is still good. So However, this game is still a little bit fresh on release, if I'm not mistaken. I know I waited a minute to finally get this game, and I know I don't think we're anywhere near the ballpark of DLC like releases or anything like that at all. So I doubt anything's coming out soon. But I wouldn't be surprised if they add more content to this game, especially it's been over 10 years since they had an Armored Core 6. That would be a little bit crazy if they decided to be like, all right, here you go, and that's it, we're done. We're gonna move on to another project. That would be a little bit crazy, and I'll be a little bit disappointed. I would love to see even more weapons than what I'm exposed to already so far. More multiplayer maps for sure. It looks like as well. Not to get too deep into the multiplayer. The multiplayer alone, I wish there was more incentive to play the multiplayer. As of right now, I feel like the only reason why I play multiplayer is just for glory rights, and kind of like this is why my AC is better, or like my AC is better, and I just wish there was more incentive than just that. I wish maybe you get more cosmetic items, no, and not loot boxes or anything like that. Dear gosh, no. Just something that kind of gets a sense of reward. I don't care what it is. Obviously, I wouldn't say OS chips because I think that would be crazy. But I think what something that could happen is just maybe who knows? I mean, I don't know where From Software would go as far as adding DLC. I don't know if there's been DLC in the past for other Armored Core games, so I would be curious to see what they do with Armored Core. So, however, other than that, I think in summary, Armored Core 6 has been an amazing game so far, and I think it still has a really, really exciting journey to take as Armored Core 6 stays released within a year or so. I'm excited to see where it lands up within a year. And I'm gonna keep playing this game for a while. I'm gonna keep playing New Game Plus. I'm gonna see how far I can go, and really just try to build the ultimate ACs in Armored Core 6. And with that being said, I highly encourage you guys to check this game out. If you have a way of checking this game out, I'm not too sure how. You can get a discount. I got this off of CD Keys, and I got a discount on it. So, but yeah. With that being said, like I think this game was really fun, and it teaches you something new. So other than that, I'm gonna hop out of here. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Take care. See you guys in the next video.